Starting with number 10. Carlos Alcaraz. Rockets. Why rockets? Because his rise didn't climb the rankings. It blasted through them. The rockets didn't emerge overnight. They ignited with Alcaraz's record-shattering ascent. From ATP number 141 in May 2021 to becoming the youngest ever US Open champion and world number 1 by September, he rewrote the tennis timeline. They don't say things like, he might be great someday. Instead, you'll find them declaring, he's already the best, or tossing in rocket emojis after every blazing forehand. On forums and fan pages, they hail his speed, not just in distance covered, but in pace of progress. One meme declares him the youngest world number one ever, a feat he accomplished at just 19 years, 4 months, and 6 days old, a record confirmed by ATP stats. Inside jokes include rocket re-entry for his comeback wins, and fans joke that he broke the speed limit at Wimbledon 2023, where he ended Djokovic's 34-match center court streak. The Rockets love pointing out that he's not the next Nadal. They believe he is Alcaraz, a brand new icon, and when he wins, they say, when Alcaraz wins, Spain wins, capturing the national pride he ignites. Moving on to number 9, Iga Świątek, bakers. Because when she's on court, nobody's safe from a bagel or breadstick. For them, being a fan is running a global meme factory. They live for the moment Iga posts a 6-0 or 6-1 scoreline, immediately announcing online that the bakery is open. Twitter and Instagram erupt with bread, bagel, and rolling pin emojis. Even casual tennis fans recognize the ritual. If Świątek plays, check the timeline for the fresh-baked scoreboard. The origin story is well documented. The 2021 Italian Open final against Karolina Pliskova, where Iga won 6-0, 6-0 in just 46 minutes, the shortest WTA 1000 final ever recorded. Since then, her fans have kept meticulous bakery logs, counting every set she wins with bakery scores. In 2022, she won 37 straight matches, dishing out 15 bagels and 10 breadsticks along the way, stats that the bakers proudly quote in every debate. They refer to tough opponents as hungry customers, and a single lost game in a dominant set as burnt crust. On match days, Reddit threads are titled like menus. Today's special, Bagels a la Świątek. Why do they love her? For them, she blends ruthless efficiency with humble charm. She'll demolish a top seed, then talk earnestly about reading novels or listening to rock bands. What the bakers are best known for is sheer consistency. Rain or shine, win or lose, they'll keep the bread jokes coming. Let's move on to number 8. Daniil Medvedev trolls, because nothing fires them up more than him winding up the entire tennis world. Medvedev's fans don't just watch matches, they treat them like live comedy specials with bonus tennis. When he mutters something cryptic under his breath, they're already crafting memes before the next point. Every exaggerated stretch to return an impossible shot? Cue the flood of emojis. Every sarcastic bow to a booing crowd? GIF'd and shared before the umpire calls time. They bonded in the chaos of the 2019 US Open when Daniil became public enemy number 1 in New York, and loved it. His thank you for the energy speech to a hostile stadium is practically their national anthem. They wear his trolling like a badge of honor, from the dead fish FIFA celebration after stopping Djokovic's Grand Slam in 2021, to the underarm serves that make purists choke on their strawberries and cream. Trolls live for moments that make crowds gasp, groan, and giggle at the same time. They don't want another smooth-talking golden boy. They want Daniil at his most awkward, dry, and devastating. For them, every point he plays is a chance to turn the sport upside down, one smirk at a time. If the trolls throw pies at tradition, the next fanbase prefers to quote poetry between points and defend their hero like a philosopher king. Now, moving on to number 7, Stefanos Tsitsipas, philosophers, because they'll defend every quote, bathroom break, and deep thought like gospel. Philosophers don't just watch Stefanos play, they interpret him, like he's tennis's answer to Plato with a wicked single-handed backhand. They'll happily debate the hidden meaning behind his Instagram captions. We are all visitors to this place we call life, in the same breath as breaking down his forehand grip. Their bond was forged in drama, most famously during the 2021 US Open when Tsitsipas's 7-minute bathroom break against Andy Murray set Twitter on fire. While critics called it gamesmanship, philosophers argued it was strategic contemplation, sparking the infamous hashtag #LetHimPee movement. Even now, they joke about bathroom resets whenever a match turns in his favor. They adore his flair, that backhand finish, the poetic press conferences, the barefoot beach photos. When he lost the 2023 Australian Open final to Djokovic, They flooded timelines with quotes about resilience and the journey mattering more than the destination. Known for turning any criticism into a symposium, philosophers are part tennis fans, part art critics, and part defense attorneys. And if you dare mock his bathroom habits, philosophical musings, or hair care routine, they'll argue you simply don't get the artistry of it all. If philosophers elevate tennis to philosophy, the next crew prefers their sport served with pure, unfiltered chaos and broken rackets for punctuation. Next at number 6, Nick Kyrgios. Rebels, because they thrive on the chaos he brings and the rules he breaks. Call them fans if you want, but they see themselves as his co-conspirators in turning tennis on its head. They flock to his matches for the unpredictability. Will they get a 230 km/h ace, a no-look tweener, or a courtside verbal war? To them, Kyrgios isn't flawed, he's honest. Every racket smash, umpire rant, or playful chat with the crowd feels like proof that he's the last truly unscripted star in a sport that can feel buttoned up. They swap clips of his 2014 Wimbledon shocker over Nadal like contraband. Still grinning at the underarm serve he once hit on breakpoint just to mess with an opponent. When he called out fans mid-match in 2022, telling one she was drunk out of her mind, Rebels turned it into a meme within hours. Kyrgios' time, for when he looks disinterested before flipping the match on its head, underarm Sundays for his cheeky serves, and Netflix Nick for his breakpoint docudrama moments. Critics label him a waste of talent. Rebels see a man choosing his own path in a sport obsessed with perfection. And when Kyrgios drags tennis into the headlines for all the wrong or right reasons, Rebels aren't apologizing, they're doubling down. Coming in at number 5, Serena Williams. Legends, because they've watched her rewrite history and crush anyone who stood in the way. The Legends are a dynasty of believers who've been marching behind Serena since her beaded braid breakthrough at the 1999 US Open. They've lived every high. 23 Grand Slam singles titles, 14 doubles titles with Venus, 4 Olympic gold medals, and every battle, on and off court. Their pride is generational. Parents tell their kids how Serena dismantled Maria Sharapova 20-2 head-to-head, or how she won the 2017 Australian Open while 8 weeks pregnant. They still quote her 2018 US Open line, "I don't cheat to win, I'd rather lose," as if it's gospel. And whenever a commentator dares to downplay her place in history, legends swarm Twitter with stats, GIFs, and side-by-side records until the debate evaporates. Serena mode means turning a tight match into a rout. Queen S memes flood timelines every time she strikes that championship pose. And when she pulled off her catsuit at Roland Garros 2018, fans called it the Wakanda serve. Known for fierce loyalty, they'll clap back at any shade, whether it's about her outfits, outbursts, or injuries. For legends, Serena isn't just the GOAT. She's the proof that dominance, power, and grace can coexist, and that tennis history bends to those who dare to take it. Moving on to number 4, Roger Federer. Artists, because for them, every shot he plays belongs in a museum. The artists are curators of a living masterpiece. Many have followed Federer since his wild-haired 2001 Wimbledon upset over Pete Sampras, but the devotion crystallized during his peak from 2004 to 2007, when he collected 11 slams and held number 1 for a record 237 consecutive weeks. They speak about his forehand like art historians dissecting brushstrokes. The Federer forehand isn't just a shot, it's a religion. They gush about half volleys hit from the baseline, drop shots disguised until the last millisecond, and his one-handed backhand, which in their eyes is the Sistine Chapel of tennis. Fidal isn't just the Federer-Nadal rivalry, it's the romantic tragedy of tennis. Sneak attack by Roger, S-A-B-E-R, still gets whispered whenever someone rushes the net on a return. They even meme his on-court sweater and cardigan looks, calling it gentleman swag. Known for unmatched class in the stands, artists are also fiercely protective. Suggest that Novak's numbers surpass him, and you'll get a TED Talk on aesthetics over stats. When he retired at Laver Cup 2022, artists flooded O2 Arena in RF caps, turning the farewell into an art exhibit of tears, applause, and devotion. If the artists celebrate beauty, the next group worships raw willpower, the kind that grinds out victories even when the body says no. Now at number 3, Rafael Nadal. Warriors, because they follow a fighter who will bleed, sweat, and roar until the last point. Warriors don't just cheer Nadal, they embody his fight. They've been shouting, "Vamos Rafa," since that 2005 French Open debut, when a bandana-wearing 19-year-old bulldozed his way to his first slam. But it's not just the titles. 22 Grand Slams and 14 at Roland Garros with a 112-3 record. It's how he wins. Warriors see every point as a battle, every match as a war of attrition. Whether it's 5 hours in Melbourne or grinding out a windy night in New York, they love the rituals, the meticulous water bottle placement, the baseline bounce steps, the shirt tug, not as quirks, but as mental armor. Inside jokes about Rafa time, the long between-point routines, get traded like currency in their circles. Warriors have a global presence, turning any arena into home court with Spanish flags, bull emojis, and chants that drown out opponents' cheers. Suggest he's past his prime, and you'll get a passionate speech about his 2022 Australian Open comeback from 2 sets down at age 35. A win they call the Lazarus Slam. Known for grit and loyalty, they travel miles for him, sometimes camping outside practice courts just to catch a glimpse. For Warriors, Nadal isn't just a player. He's a way of life. Sliding into number 2. Novak Djokovic, defenders, because they'll battle anyone anywhere to prove he's the greatest. Defenders aren't just Novak fans, they're Novak's shield. The group took shape in the late 2000s when Djokovic started breaking through Federer and Nadal's stranglehold. But their identity was forged in fire. Every time the crowd cheered his errors, every lukewarm headline after a record-breaking win, every handshake met with a faint smile instead of roaring applause. The defenders were there, ready to push back. They're obsessed with receipts. If you claim Djokovic isn't the GOAT, expect a spreadsheet in your inbox. 24 Grand Slams, 10 Australian Opens, 389 plus weeks at world number 1, 7 year-end number 1 finishes, all ATP records. They'll remind you he's beaten Federer at Wimbledon, Nadal at Roland Garros, and Medvedev in a US Open final, often in the same breath. They call hostile crowds rent-free tenants, and after his 2022 deportation from Australia, memes of Novak photoshopped into famous rebel images flooded Twitter. The Joker nickname becomes a rallying cry when he trolls with mimicry or comic celebrations. Known for being relentless, defenders swarm polls, flood comment sections, and fact-check pundits live on air. In their minds, Novak doesn't just win matches, he wins battles against bias, and they're in the trenches with him. Finally, at number 1, Emma Raducanu, dreamers, because they saw the impossible happen, and they'll never stop believing. Dreamers didn't form over years. They materialized almost instantly in September 2021, like a flash mob summoned by destiny. Before that summer, Raducanu was ranked number 338, known only to die-hard British tennis watchers. 3 months later, she'd done something no qualifier, man or woman, had ever achieved in the history of tennis: win a Grand Slam without dropping a set in any of her 10 matches. The US Open run became folklore in real time. Her first-round qualifying match was played in front of a few hundred people. Her final against Leylah Fernandez was watched by over 9 million in the UK alone. Dreamers feed off that fairy tale energy. They talk about her 6-4, 6-3 final like it was a coronation and treat the $2.5 million prize money as proof that modern Cinderella stories exist. They flood social media with "no shoes to Dior" memes, a nod to her whirlwind leap from teenager lugging her own kit to front-row fashion royalty. They love referencing the qualifying queen and teasing how she completed tennis in one go. Critics point to her post-2021 struggles, but dreamers counter with faith. Every match is the start of the next chapter. They're not following a career, they're holding on to a moment that proved anything can happen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and dive into our next video for more unbelievable tennis stories and scandals.